We're in the grounds of the largest theme park in Latin America, Beto Carrero World, that hosted its inaugural race 1 year ago today for round 7 of the FIM Motocross World Championship. The spectacular circuit is littered with huge jumps on the typical red clay dirt of Brazil, while the impressive infrastructure at high-capacity bleachers provide a stadium-like atmosphere. After perfect conditions in qualification, last year's event turned out to be a bit of a mudbath as heavy rain spoiled what should have been every bit as spectacular as the venue itself. And this year's event looks to have followed a similar pattern. Perfect conditions in MX2 qualifying was followed by mountain drizzle for MX1 and showed no signs of easing up during the night. In MX2, Jeffrey Hurlings remains unbeaten and made hard work for himself in Saturday's qualifying session, as did his MX1 teammate Tony Cairoli. Gauthier Paulin arrives here in good form, having won the last 2 MX1 Grand Prix, and Clement de Sal would like something better than the bruises he picked up in Portugal.
Howdy partners, the FIM World Motocross Championship returns to Beto Carrero World in Brazil for the 3rd and final flyaway round of the year. You might remember from last year that the track is conveniently located next to the theme park, so of course we couldn't pass up the opportunity to come back for another visit. Hola! It's been a smooth ride for Jeffrey Hurlings so far in MX2, winning every moto to date. But the likes of Jordi Tixier, Jake Nichols and Christophe Charlier will be looking to put a stop to the Jeffrey Hurlings freight train. The MX1 Championship has been a bit of a roller coaster so far. We've had 3 different GP winners, Gauthier Paulin picking up those last 2. But Tony Cairoli still maintains the championship lead. Last time out in Portugal, we saw some huge crashes, so let's take a look back at what happened.
Well, in Portugal 2 weeks ago, it was Jeffrey Hurlings who was king of the sand, but Jake Nichols and Jordi Tixier, they banged bars on more than one occasion. Jake Nichols coming off best in that little tussle. Tixier would make a few more mistakes, but Hurlings would win moto number 1. In MX1, race 1, Gauthier Paulin got off to a good start, but it was him, Tony Cairoli and Clement de Sal, the early pace setters, but on lap 6, Paulin would go through, and on the final lap, Cairoli would go down hard. He broke off the front brake lever. In that crash as well, he picked the bike up and rode home with the front brake lever attached to the cable, but he would have to wear it underneath the left hand. Gauthier Paulin would win race 1. In MX2, race 2, once again, Jeffrey Hurlings made a flying start in the glorious sunshine. He made a few mistakes, though, after the circuit had been watered quite heavily. Max Anstey came off worst in this collision with Alexander Tonkov, but he would pick himself up to pick up some points. But Jeffrey Hurlings made it 2 from 2 and 6 Grand Prix out of 6 in 2013. In MX1, Tony Cairoli rounded out the first turn just ahead of his rivals, but once again it was Gauthier Paulin and Clement de Sal that were in close contention as the 3 giants of MX1 battle it out here at Agata. Tony Cairoli looked to make a break for it at the front. Gauthier Paulin also put a gap between himself and de Sal, but then on the last lap, de Sal had a big moment that let Paulin off the hook. He would come over the line behind Tony Cairoli, who won the race, but not the GP. That belonged to Gauthier Paulin. Cairoli was second, de Sal was third, but Tony Cairoli still leads a championship.
Hello, I am Alessandro Lupino, CLS Kawasaki Mustang Energy plus MX2.
Hello, I'm Kevin Strijbos. I'm riding for the Rockstar Energy Suzuki MX1 team.
Let's take a quick look around this Beto Carrero circuit then. About 75 meters or so down to turn 1, 180-degree flat turn. Then we're into 3 waves, difficult to double through there. So the bike upset on the balance as they head into turn 2. Then it's down past pit lane, trying to sweep through turn 3 over the first of the Monster Energy tabletop jumps. Not too long in distance, but the riders do get a little bit of elevation. Then they land and cut immediately to the right-hand side through the 8 waves through the turn, double through there. into the left, over a single, through the right, over another single, in front of one of the main grandstands here. More than 25,000 people were packed into this arena this weekend. Over the tabletop, through the right-hand turn, banked 180 degrees. And then turn 8 is this off-cambered long left-hander. As the weekend wears on, there'll be a choice of lines through there. Over the single on the exit, through the flat right. You see the single over there to the right-hand side. And then over the triple. It's more like a tabletop onto a single, actually. And then through the single left, uphill, the highest point of the circuit. But before you get there, it's a 30-meter point-to-point Monster Energy triple jump. 180-degree right, downhill past the shack on the left, into the flat turn. Levels out just about now. And then it's uphill through a banked right-hand sweeper into this right-hander. Then the ground falls away quite considerably from left to right. One of the biggest negative cambers you'll see on a racetrack in MX1 in 2013. Through the tight right, downhill, over the step down and back down towards the Monster Energy area. Through the right, short straight into a left. And then a wave section as we come out of this left-hander, about 8 or 9 waves through there. Some riders double the way through. Some riders going through on the back wheel for the first few, then doubling the last couple. Into the right-hander, over a single, just to upset the balance of the bike before they hit that KTM turn. Through the Romagnoli wave section, 2 big waves through there, over the big step up. Then we have a couple more corners. The first is the left-hander, where we have some white, deep sand coming out of there this time around. Didn't have that last year under the Honda banner. This will get very bumpy into this right-hander as the weekend wears on. Out of the final turn, down the final straight, over the first of 2 tabletops, the second being the Monster Energy finish line jump, and that's a lap of Beto Carrero.
The last time this year with the super final, so we see on the first 2 races it was very good. We believe the track here is still more in balance between the MX1 and MX2 bikes, so for this we think there will be a great race, and after that we will take the conclusion and we will see on the future how to go on, but I believe very much it's a great show and we will see.
So the Brazilian fans here are going to be in for a treat for the 3rd and final final race of the season. And this is how the riders get there. The top 10 from the championship in MX1 and MX2 automatically qualify. All 20 riders score points, but what we have then is the top 8 riders who aren't in the top 10. They will automatically go through to the final. Then we need 4 more because that's going to be 36 of a 40-rider grid, so it's a time training session. Last chance, the top 2 fastest riders from MX2 and MX1 give us 4 more riders. That's a 40-rider super final grid. In the super final, all 40 riders in there, 20 MX1 and 20 MX2. Championship points are scored in their respective classes.
So here in Brazil, we've taken advantage of the organisers' hospitality. We're up for a bit of dancing, a bit of singing, and we're going to catch up with a few riders too, so let the party start. Bobby, great to see you back, but how's the foot feeling? Are you going to be able to dance tonight?
I try, you know, I'm not healthy enough, but you know, for dancing I'm always healthy, you know, but no, I'm joking really, it's still painful, so you know, but it's much better than a few days ago, and every time it's improving the pain.
Gaete, nice to see you here in Brazil, obviously coming off a bit of a high after the last 2 GPs. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm feeling really good at the moment. It's true that last 2 GP was really good with 2 wins in a row. It was nice, but I mean, I'm here as a racer. I know everything can happen. I'm just here to do my best, and the championship start again. I mean, the crew, all the team is behind me, and the It's a track I really like here, but still anything can happen, and I need to be focused and start again all the job.
Tony, I know you're a guy that enjoys a party. You having a good time tonight?
Yeah, for sure. It's always nice to be at this event. Meets a lot of people and the press from the local place, so it's good. I like it.
And fingers crossed for no rain on Sunday.
Yeah, hopefully, for sure. Last year wasn't my best race, so hopefully not too much rain like last year, and hopefully gonna be on the after 2GP that I missed the top spot, being on the podium on the first step.
Davide, it's the final flyaway round of the year. How does it feel to be in Brazil?
Yeah, right now it feels great. You know, there is nice people here, and the park here all around is great. And also tonight they organize really nice kind of party here with the music, and you know, it's nice. Since the weather now is coming not so bad, then it's really good.
You got a drink? You're almost out. Let's go get Caprinias.
Of course, we go now.
Thanks, Paul.
I'm waiting 20 minutes for that. In the qualifying race in MX2, it was Glenn Coldenhoff who led from start to finish in all 11 laps, coming home ahead of Christophe Charlier and Jeffrey Hurlings, who crashed on the first lap. But in the moto itself, Alexander Tonkov on the Ester Motorsports Honda stormed his way into the lead, with Glenn Coldenhoff just behind him on the 259. Jake Nichols, 45, was in third place, with Mel Pocock down in fourth. Jeffrey Hurlings again didn't make a decent start and was having to work through the field, but by lap 3 Coldenhoff had got into his rhythm and found a way down the inside of Tonkov to then lead. Alex Lupino, he went down trying a little bit too hard, but eventually he would come home in 10th place on the CLS Kawasaki, but Jake Nichols stormed up the inside of Tonkov into second. Then it was the turn of Jeffrey Hurlings, who'd got his way up through the field. He passed Alexander Tonkov and then moved up into third place and then went after Jake Nichols. Meanwhile, Mel Pocock was also storming through on the Monster Energy Yamaha as the Russian started to fade a few places back. Eventually he would drop down to 9th. Mel Pocock would eventually have a battle with Jordi Tixier. Up front though, Jeffrey Hurlings found a way past Glenn Coldenhoff with about 7 laps to go, and this was Tixier up the inside of Pocock, and that would determine 4th place in the race. Dean Ferris also made a charge towards the end, eventually coming home in 7th place, and Jose Boutron was a consistent ride, coming from 8th to eventually come home in 6th, but Jeffrey Hurlings, so dominant in 2013 so far, wowed the fans with big whips, and he took the checkered flag in race 1. Tony Cairoli was the man to look out for, but in moto number 1, would he make the start? Well, the Garibaldi Honda rider David Philipparts pushed him all the way to the white line to get the Athena hole shot, but Tony Cairoli, once there, never looked back. Philipparts hung on for second place for about 4 laps, trying to hold off the challenge of Tommy Searle. Bounced his way into third was Clement de Salle, just ahead of Max Nagel, but Nagel eventually found a way through up the inside of the Belgian de Salle and would go through into third place, or 4th place at that point. Tommy Searle then was just ahead of these guys and pushing on, trying to hold on to that 3rd place, but he lost the front end at the bottom of the hill. He went sprawling down to the deck. Nagel went to the inside, de Salle took the wider line around the outside. That gave the German a few yards. It wasn't long before it was all over the back of Philipparts. Had to work hard for the pass though. Eventually he did go through, but the 2 Kawasaki's of Gauthier Paulin and Jeremy Van Hoorbeek duked it out for a couple of laps before the Frenchman, number 21, went through. And then he would set his sights on de Salle. Before that though, he had to find a way past Ken de Dijker. A mistake from the Belgian eventually let the Frenchman through. Philipparts was next in his sights, and Gauthier Paulin soon found a way through, and gutsy move at the inside through the long off camber saw Paulin up into 4th place, just ahead of them. De Salle found his way into 3rd, but up front and unchallenged, Antonio Cairoli on the Red Bull KTM was in control. Stark contrast to a year ago when he was floundering in the muddy conditions, but he was a winner here in Moto number 1.
Absolutely, this is a great challenge because we are involving 12 people to organize all the pickup all around Europe, and we concentrate all the cargo, which I mean 25 tons, which means 25,000 kilos, in Luxembourg airport, and then we load on a cargo aircraft and we ship all the material here in Viracopos, which is the cargo airport in São Paulo. Then we organize 4 big semi-trailers after doing the custom clearance, which is quite a big operation here in Brazil. And after 24 hours driving with the security, we are finally in Beto Carrero to deliver all the goods for all the teams.
We pick up in Europe with trucks. Usually we have trucks from Italy, trucks from France, 2 trucks from Belgium and Holland, 1 from England and 1 from Austria. Then we prepare all the custom operation to go out of Europe in Luxembourg. And then with the cargo flight, we fly from Luxembourg to Brazil.
We take care of basically everything, starting from the TV equipment, timekeeping, advertising, and of course the teams. That means bikes and spare parts. We normally plan everything in 2 months, especially for this kind of country. We need 2 months to prepare all the custom operation. That's the biggest part. The biggest issue is the custom. So we need to start to talk with the custom 2 months before to prepare all the paperwork, so we know exactly how are the regulation at the moment, because every year there is something different. And we give all the information to the teams. We prepare all the pro forma invoices. We send the pro forma invoices for approval in the custom here in Brazil. When we get the approval, we can really start the operation. But we start already 2 months before the events.
When I'm preparing for going to the race, I always put before the right socks, and then the left, and then first right knee brace, and then the left. Everything start with the right. Then I started on that when I was young, and I always do that.
I always kit up from the left side, so pull my left knee brace sock up first, left knee brace on, then the right, then my left boot on, and then my right. And if I forget to do that, if I realise halfway through that I've done it wrong, then I'll strip back off and start from the left side again.
No, I wouldn't retake my clothes off if I had to do that. I mean, definitely I like doing the right knee brace for the left, but I wouldn't go through the whole motions. And unless I'm a little bit uncomfortable, then maybe I'll retake my gear off. But if I'm comfortable in my gear, no matter which way it goes on, I'm racing in it.
I think everyone's got their own little superstitious things or routine stuff that they do. I mean, like even when I'm packing my kit bag, I'll always put the 3 towels in first, then I put on top all my underwear that I wear when I'm riding on a bike. Then on top of that goes the race shirts. Then on top of that goes the gloves. And then on the other side I put the pants, the race pants. and then make sure I've got 6 of everything for the GPs, and then goes my knee braces on top of that, my body belt on top of that, then my chest protector goes on top of there. Then I close, that's that bag finished.
I guess every ride is different. Every rider has a little thing that they might do, or maybe they have a little prayer or something, I don't know. Like
the last thing is before the start, just when it's the green flag, I do like this 3 times, and I watch to the event, and then that's is what I'm ready to start like that, because I feel more sure if I do all these things before I feel ready, and then everything going well.
Nothing too crazy, just try and breathe, and you know, I do my gloves a little bit, I pull them back a little bit, make sure they're tight, and then mostly for me is just breathing in through my nose and out my mouth. Just do that 10 times and try and get myself calmed down before that gate drops and before it's time to go.
I always make sure that the gloves are like the little Velcro patch is stuck on properly. Probably take it off and back on 3 or 4 times, just make sure it's done. And then make sure they're properly pulled up when I'm sitting on the line just before I go, just to make sure I know they're not going to fall off.
So the 3rd and final super final of 2013 then, as a result of us being at the flyaway race here in Brazil, got underway, the gate dropped, Jeffrey Hurlings, a terrible start up the inside, but it was Rui Gonçalves on the Ice One racing KTM who stormed through, but he was alongside Tony Cairoli and Kevin Strybos. Strybos eventually went through, took the lead coming out of turn 2, but Jeffrey Hurlings went down, he got hit from behind, went sprawling to the deck, got run over, his bike got run over, he picked himself up and rejoined the race right at the back of the field as Jonathan Barragan went through on the STR KTM, but Rui Gonçalves was looking good in the early stages of the race as he held off the likes of Tony Cairoli and Clément de Sal. Cairoli storming up the inside of de Sal at the top of the hill to go into 3rd place after a scary moment early on in the moto. He then found a way past Rui Gonçalves. That's what it looked like from Rui Gonçalves' point of view on board. And then he was into 2nd place trying to close down this guy here, number 22, Kevin Strybos. Meanwhile, the number 17 of Jose Boutron, he was the first MX1 guy, started in 6th place and was never outside the top 10. Just MX1 guys ahead of him. Jeffrey Hurlings was also making light work of some of the guys, but it would get harder for him as he came through the field. But Gauthier Paulin eventually got alongside and found a way past Rui Gonçalves, and that put him up into 4th place on the Kawasaki. Jake Nichols went out right at the start of the race on lap 4. He had a big crash, had a problem with the front end as well, but taking no prisoners. Max Nagel storming through on the inside of Gonçalves. That would put him 6th. That's where it eventually stayed. Hurlings found a way onto the rear wheel and eventually passed David Philipparts on the 450 Garibaldi Honda. And Jeffrey Hurlings then at that point would go into 13th position in the race, and he was already then the 2nd best placed MX2 rider on the verge of picking up 22 points. Remember, Hurlings undefeated so far in 2013, but Boutron at 15 seconds clear of him at that point was looking good for his first ever MX2 victory. David Philipparts crashed out with about 4 or 5 laps to go and would not finish the race. Meanwhile, wasn't the first time we'd seen this battle between Tommy Searle and Jeremy Van Hoorbeek, the MX1 rookies duking it out, going bar to bar, wheel to wheel on more than one occasion. Eventually, Van Hoorbeek would find a way past, Tommy Searle would go back through, and Van Hoorbeek would come out on top and come home in 8th ahead of Tommy Searle, who would place 9th. In the final 3 laps, Tony Cairoli found himself right on the rear wheel and passed just here coming out of the penultimate turn, much to the delight of the massive crowd in the grandstand to the left as he went down the home straight. And Tony Cairoli went on to take the checkered flag and a double race win here, his 58th career victory. Strybos would finish the race in 2nd, de Sal would be 3rd, Paulin 4th, Kenda Dijker was 5th, and Jose Boutron was the winner in MX2 ahead of Hurlings, Tixier and Charlier, with Ferris in 5th. Confirmation of the MX2 championship, Hurlings unchanged at the top of the standings. And he picks up another red plate and a Brazilian Grand Prix, something he didn't do last year in 2012. Jose Boutron 2nd overall this weekend in MX2. Jordi Tixier 3rd. It's another red plate for Jeffrey Hurlings as we move to France. And Tony Cairoli picked up his 58th Grand Prix victory ahead of Clément de Sal and Kevin Strybos. And it was quite an emotional one as well for Tony Cairoli.
What an amazing weekend we've had here from start to finish. It's been awesome. These guys have been incredible. We'll see you next time out in France. But from all of us here, goodbye for now. Ready, go! Go, go!